Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Committee of Adjustment meeting for the Township of North Kawartha. Welcome to the folks that are joining us online. It looks like we've got a full house online today for this Committee of Adjustment meeting. And I just want to remind people that our meetings are recorded and they're uploaded to our YouTube channel. So any comments or any opinions that are expressed will be recorded and available for the public to hear. So please be aware of that. And so I'm going to welcome everybody, and I just want to remind folks of the disclosure of pecuniary interest. Does any member of the committee have any interest with any of the matters before us? I'm not seeing any, so we'll move on then. And we're looking for adoption of the agenda. We have 3 applications here before us today. Can I have a mover? Ruth Ann will move that, seconded by Colin. All those in favor? The agenda has been adopted, and I did want to ask, with the committee's permission, if we could just change the order slightly and do number 1, number 2, number 1, number 3, and then number 2, just because I want to make sure that we have a good block of time for the second application. So if that's okay with the committee, we'll do that. All right. And without further ado, I'm going to declare that we are in a statutory public hearing for the purpose of hearing 3 minor variance applications today. The public hearings give an opportunity for members of our community to ask for planning relief from rules and regulations that we have. It's also an opportunity for members of the public to provide comments on those requests for relief. And while we encourage everyone to express their comments to the committee so we can make the best decision possible, recent changes to the Planning Act have removed the right of appeal from the public. Only certain agencies, specified persons, the applicant do have the right of appeal, and for those folks there is an appeal period which is 20 days from the day the decision is made. So if I've missed anything, Laura, you're going to add it in. So I'm going to introduce Laura Stone, our planner. Good morning, welcome, and please go ahead with the first application, please.
Good morning, and thank you very much, Madam Chair. So the first application is A-10-26. The recommendation is that the Committee of Adjustment approve minor variance application A-10-26 to vary sections 3.1HI and 3.3A to permit the redevelopment of an accessory structure, which is a shed, located 1.5 meters from the side lot line and 19 meters from the high water mark, as it meets the 4 tests of the minor variance and is in keeping with the policy provisions of the provincial planning statement. The background is as such. The address is 81 Narrows Road, roll number 1536010201740. The owner is Glenn Rich. It is zoned shoreline residential, and the official plan designation is seasonal residential. This property, as you can see on the notice and on the report, is located with frontage onto Chandos Lake at both the front of the property and the rear of the property. So it's on a bit of a peninsula. Essentially, the application is requesting the removal of an existing shed that's located on the existing attached deck and moving it to the grassy area just behind the deck. This property is not able to meet the 30-meter setback in both directions, which is why we're here asking for the minor variance. The side lot line has a row of cedar hedges, as well as a fence on the neighboring properties. So the view for the neighbors wouldn't be an issue. I measured this application against the 4 tests of the minor variance. Is the application minor in nature? Yes. Right now, the existing shed is located about 10.6 meters from the high water mark, and the proposed is 19 meters from the high water mark. As I mentioned, there is a cedar hedge. The application is desirable and appropriate, as it's generally a net benefit for the property to have a shed removed from the deck and pushed further back from the water. It would also improve the view from the lake. The application meets the intent of the official plan. The official plan permits seasonal residential uses inclusive of accessory structures, and the application meets the intent of the comprehensive zoning bylaw. Accessory structures are permitted in the shoreline residential zone. I also measured this application against the provincial planning statement and found that it is in keeping with the directives of that document. So I did put two conditions to this application. One, that the structures are built to the measurements on the site plan. And two, that the existing northerly shed located on the attached deck is removed prior to the construction of the proposed shed. Otherwise, this application meets the four tests of the minor variance and is consistent with the intent of the provincial planning statement. The application is representative of good planning and should be approved. We did hear from Crow Valley Conservation Authority, and they have no issue with the application.
Okay, all right, thank you for that, Laura. At this point, I would ask if the applicant or the applicant's representative is here and would like to speak on this application. You don't have to, but if you have further information that you want to add, this is your opportunity to do so. I'm not seeing anybody putting up their little hand or any videos coming on, so I will move on then. Is there anybody here to speak on this application? Any member of the public? Either in support of or in opposition to? Laura, can I confirm, other than Crow Valley, that no other written comments were received?
No other comments were received.
Okay, all right. And I'm not seeing anyone online that wants to speak to this application, so I will turn it over to members of the committee. Questions, comments, or motion, please? Who wants to go? Colin.
I will move that the committee approve minor variance application A1016 as it meets the fourth test of a minor variance with the two recommended conditions.
Okay, thank you for that. Seconded by Ruth Ann. All those in favor? That application is approved. Okay, now Laura, can you go on to, which is number 3 on ours, but we'll make that number 2, which is A-11-26, please.
Absolutely. So this application, A-11-26, the recommendation is that the Committee of Adjustment approve minor variance application A-11-26 to vary sections 3.1I to permit an overhang of eaves of 1.2 meters and section 3.18B4 to permit a lateral increase of 35.6 meters as it meets the 4 tests of the minor variance and is in keeping with the policy provisions of the provincial planning statement. So this application comes to us following a fire that destroyed the building on the property. The general rebuild area is on the same footprint. It's not getting any closer to the water than what was already existing. And I'll just go through the property information and the 4 tests of the minor variance. So the application address is 1864 Northeast Bay Road. Roll number 153602000184300. The owners are Douglas and Farron. The agent is Forshe Designs, who is on the call with us today. It is zoned shoreline residential permanent and environmental constraint. The official plan designation is seasonal residential. So this application was measured against the 4 tests of the minor variance, and it was found to be compliant. So the application is minor in nature, in that it is 38% of the shoreline frontage. However, it does exceed the width, the lateral frontage when it comes to the meters. It's proposed to be 35.6 meters. So it is a little bit above what we would otherwise permit. With the overhang, it's just an ornamental design feature, and it will not be built form that encroaches towards the lake in a manner that increases habitable area. The application is desirable and appropriate in that it is taking place on the footprint of the burned dwelling, and it does not encroach further towards the water. The application meets the intent of the official plan in that seasonal residential development is permitted. The application meets the intent of the comprehensive zoning bylaw. We do permit lateral expansions and ornamental encroachments. I also compared this application to the provincial planning statement, and it was found to be in conformity. Let's see here. So in conclusion, the minor variance application meets the 4 tests of the minor variance and is consistent with the intent of the provincial planning statement. The application is representative of good planning and should be approved with the following condition: that the structures are built to the measurements on the site plan. I did not get any Any information or calls from anyone? No responses to the mail out.
Okay, all right, thank you, Laura. And again, I will ask if the applicant or the applicant's representative is here, and I see somebody put their hand up. Good morning, Mr. Forshoe, please go ahead. Oh, we just got to unmute, pardon me.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Committee members and planning staff. This is Alex Forshoe and Massimo DiFrancesco, one of my team members here at Forshoe Design Associates in Port Carling, Ontario. I just wanted to express my gratitude and the recommendation of approval for the application. And if any members of the committee or staff have any questions, happy to answer.
All right, thank you for that. Okay, then I'm going to ask if there's any member of the public that is here to speak on this application, either in support of or in opposition to. Your opportunity to do so is now, and I'm not seeing, there's nobody in the gallery, no member of the public in the gallery here today, and I don't see anybody online that wants to speak, so I'm going to members of the committee. Questions or comments or a motion? Jim?
I move that the committee approve minor variance A 11-26 as it meets the four tests for the minor variance and complies with the provincial policy statement, provincial planning statement.
Yeah, and with the following condition?
With the,
Yeah, that was recommended. Okay, perfect. Jim moves that. Seconder? Colin seconds that. All those in favor? That has been approved. All right, thank you very much.
Thanks so much, committee and staff. Enjoy your day.
You're welcome, thank you. Okay, and now Laura, we're gonna go back to application A-19-26, please.
Sure. So thank you very much. The recommendation is that the Committee of Adjustment approve minor variance application A-19-25 to vary section 3.30 to permit an attached deck with a depth of 8.9 meters and the redevelopment of a detached deck with a floor ground area of 21.32 meters and a height of 3.76 meters, located 4 meters from the high water mark with a side yard setback of 2.5 meters to the stairs for the attached or detached deck, as it meets the four tests of the minor variance and is in keeping with the policy provisions of the provincial planning statement. The property information is as follows. The address is 19 Fire Route 45C, roll number 1536000011844. The owner is Joe Teixeira. The zone is shoreline residential and the official plan designation is seasonal residential. Before I get into the application, we did have two comments, letters of opposition from a neighbor, Madison Odette, and her agent, Diana Kay, who is on the call today from DM Wills. There were a couple questions that were asked in the emails back and forth, so I'll just go through some of the answers right now. So there was a question about lateral expansion. Yes, that was looked at. The cottage and the attached decks are the only structures that we look at for the lateral expansion, although we do take into consideration the built development in a whole. 35% lateral expansion is what is happening with the cottage and the attached decks. The height of the detached deck is largely due to the topographical challenges. As you could see through the pictures attached with Madison and Diana's letters, it's quite a steep area. And I will note that the neighbors are all generally similar in that they have stairs going down to the water. So this property is located in the Burleigh Ward with frontage onto Raccoon or Coon Lake. It was found that the application is minor in nature. The height of the detached deck, like I mentioned, the property is relatively steep. The footings that were on the previous deck that had existed were crumbling and falling apart, and the reconstructed, and this was reconstructed without a permit, which caused the CBO, Matt Oldham and I, to go out to site. The reinforced piers created a higher height for the detached deck, but given the topography, that's a relatively minor increase. And the depth of the attached deck being 8.9 meters, the deck runs perpendicular to the cottage, so it's running away from the waterfront towards the rear of the property. And that is what is giving it that depth. It's not coming out from the front of the cottage towards the water at 8.9 meters. The side yard setback for the stairs are considered to be generally low impact development, and that is minor in nature. So the application being desirable and appropriate. In the report, I put the LiDAR layer of GIS onto the report just so that the committee could see that the area is indeed quite steep. There is a 5-meter drop between the elevation changes that you can see there. So that I would say makes the application desirable and appropriate for the property and for the municipality, and that it allows access to the waterfront. And as mentioned, the depth of the deck running perpendicular is also considered to be appropriate for the property. The application meets the intent of the official plan in that, once again, cottage development and its accessory structures are protected and permitted. The application meets the intent of the comprehensive zoning bylaw. We do allow detached and attached decks. I will say that when Matt and I did our site visit, we did confirm that the setback for the detached deck is the same as what it was previously. So we could see where the piers had been and where the piers are, and it's the same location. This application was also measured against the provincial planning statement and was found to be in conformity. So in conclusion, this minor variance meets the 4 tests of the minor variance and is consistent with the intent of the provincial planning statement. This application is representative of good planning and should be approved with the following condition: that the structures are built to the measurements on the site plan.
All right, thank you for that, Laura.
You're welcome.
Okay, and now, again, I will ask if the applicant or the applicant's representative would like to speak and add further information to what our planner has provided. You don't have to do so, but I just always like to give folks the opportunity to add a few of their own words if they'd like. And just, I see that you've unmuted yourself, Mr., I don't know how to say your last name, is it Texira?
You said it very well, yes.
Oh, good morning, welcome, yeah, please go ahead, you can turn on your video if you want.
I'm trying to find that.
Somebody may have sent you an invitation. Oh, I think there you are.
Thank you. Thank you again, and the committee and the staff. Laura's been great to work with, and also Matt's been guiding me along the way. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Joe Texera from 19 Firewood 45C, and I am the owner of the property since October 2020. When we got the property, we got it with no conditions. The lot we had. Wow, I'm sorry, I'm very nervous.
It's okay, no worries.
So when we purchased the property, we knew that there was a lot to be done. We to bring it back to life, and my family
Joe, would you like me to speak a little bit about what we talked about yesterday with your family? Okay, so
That's fine. Yep.
Mr. Teixeira and I spoke yesterday, and he said that his family, there's a mix, I believe, 7 grandchildren, and his brother is 79, I think. So accessing the lake, safely is of utmost importance, to Mr. Teixeira. So that is the reason that the platform was built. He, once he received a stop work order from Matt Oldham, our CBO, he roped off the platform by the water so that no one would be able to access it because it wasn't finished being built. It was very unsafe. So he's just looking to replace what was there, and it was built quite some time ago. So the wood was rotting, the piers were rotting, all of that type of thing. So that is the intention, I believe, of Mr. Teixeira moving forward. So if there's anything, Joe, that you wanted to add or that I missed, go ahead and add it.
Yeah, you pretty much covered everything. The safety part of it was number one. And there's no disrespect on the neighbors. They have the right to look into things that don't look right, and I have no problem with that. When we were made aware of the problem, we had no idea, and sorry for my lack of not knowing. I just thought that I could replace it because it was old and wasn't usable. So we replaced it. When we found out, we stopped the job right away, and we haven't touched it since. The cottage is important to us.
Mr. Texera, do you want, what I was just gonna say, I can see that you're emotional about this, and I can appreciate that. I can certainly open up to some other questions and comments that may be coming forward, and I will certainly give you an opportunity to respond if there's any questions or comments that are asked. But you can also, and Laura can respond to them as well. I don't want you to feel any kind of pressure. I understand that this is important to you, but maybe that's what we can do is give you a chance to sort of breathe a bit, and we can go to some of the other comments if that's okay.
Yeah, like we just want to make it right. We've been following rules, regulations, and all the advice that we've been getting from the office, and thanks to them.
Yeah, you're cutting out a little bit too. The volume's a little bit low on your side too. But so why don't we just do that? I'm going to go and open it up for the other comments, and like I said, I'll give you an opportunity to respond if there's a need to do so. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So at this point, I would like to ask if there's anybody here to speak on this application, either in support of or in opposition to. This is your time to do so. Just want to acknowledge once again that Laura did raise it, that we did receive 2 letters on this application. And I see Diana Key has raised her hand. Good morning, Diana. Welcome, and please go ahead.
Through the chair, good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me here today. My name is Diana Kay. I'm the Manager of Planning and Principal Planner at DMS Associates Limited. I have been retained by the owners of 13 Fire Route 45C to prepare a letter of opposition to the application. I trust that everyone was able to review my letter, so I won't go through it in detail, but I did want to provide an overview of the main points. as well as summarize what my client is trying to achieve here. So based on our review of the site's historical development, we did have an opportunity to look at the application that was submitted in the municipal file. And within that application, it specified that the existing detached deck, so the one that was originally there before it was torn down, was located 7.1 meters from the water setback and was approximately 21 square meters in area. And the height, of course, was larger because it had to consider the scale of the topography. So the application before you does not consider the same development that was previously there. At least it says in the application that it was of a different size and location. So I'm a little bit confused as to why we're hearing today that it's rebuilding the exact same footprint. Because we're looking at an application that is requesting relief in pretty much much of the development standards in the zoning bylaw. So as proposed, because the development requires a relief of the zoning standards, it looks like the deck itself, I did do a site visit yesterday. My client got the notice of application on June 10th. So as you can appreciate, we had to rush to really review in detail everything that's being requested here. So as you see the site yesterday, it looks like the deck is actually accommodating a seating area. Now, the intent of allowing decks in the water yard is to ensure that there is proper and safe access. And the size requirements considers this and to ensure that there's naturalization of the shoreline, that the visual impacts from the water are not impacted, and that it's reducing the scale and massing of development along the shoreline. So by proposing a development that exceeds all the zoning requirements and is essentially doubling the size of what was existing, which is already over what is permitted in the zoning bylaw, does not meet the intent of the zoning bylaw. We have provided examples of the neighboring properties with steep slopes as well to the water, and their decks and stairs follow the topography of the site and blend in with the surrounding area. So it is a possibility to reduce the scale and massing of the development. Furthermore, based on a review of the available information, it appears that the application also requires relief from the attached deck. So the deck that was already built in 2021. It not only exceeds the depth requirement of 3.7 meters, but based on the site plan that was submitted with the application, it also encroaches into the 9-meter water setback. And the zoning bylaw is pretty clear that you cannot encroach further. And the site plan shows that it encroaches, it is only 7.5 meters from the water setback. So this was not advertised in the application. It was also not considered in the staff report. So we believe that request for relief is also required from that setback. As a result, improper notice was provided for the application. We do not believe the application is minor in nature. We respectfully request that this application be denied. However, the intent of my client is not to obviously, prohibit or not support that her neighbors have access to the water. Of course, that's the point of having a cottage. You want access to the water. It's just that we need to look at a deck development that is actually meeting the 4 tests of a minor variance and that is built to better comply with the zoning law. So it is also an option where if this application can be deferred, so we can work better with the neighbor to ensure that it is bringing the development closer to compliance with the zoning bylaw and not have such low massing on the waterfront. My client is open to that as well. So thank you for your time, and I am, of course, open for questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Diana. I appreciate that. And Laura has raised her hand. Please go ahead, Laura.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. So I would like to remind the committee that this application was deferred in May. And the reason for that was the measurements provided to us by the agent were incorrect. So that would be the reason that 7.1 meters was shown initially for the setback to the detached deck. Once we figured out that the measurements were incorrect, we deferred the application and we came back with the accurate numbers, which is what is before you today. I would also like to speak to the attached deck. The attached deck The front setback has not changed. The dimensions of that front area have not changed. The property owner has built the deck back away from the water to run parallel to the cottage. So it wasn't taken into consideration for the setback to the high water mark because it was existing, it didn't change. The extension towards the water didn't change. It was just the deck from the water frontage essentially back. So I just wanted to clarify those 2 points.
Okay, all right, thank you for that clarification, Laura. Is there anybody else here that would like to speak on this application? This is your opportunity to do so. And I'm not seeing any indication, so I'm going to turn it over to members of the committee for questions and comments. Jim, start us off, please.
Diana, can you hear me without this thing?
Turn it on. There you go.
Okay. Diana, in your summary, you say that the increase in the permitted size of the detached deck is 340%. Is that are you saying that that's 340% over 10 square meters?
That is correct, through the chair. That is correct. The
What
zoning
size
bylaw
is it?
allows 10 square meters, and we're looking at 44 and a half.
Okay.
And that's like 3 or 4%, it's not 340.
Okay.
It's a long ways off 340%.
Well,
How big did you say the deck was? What was permitted?
You're allowed, sorry, through the chair, you're permitted 10, and what's being proposed is 44 and a half.
Well, double 10, 2 times 10 is 20. So, you know,
yeah,
it's only
that's
about 40%.
That's 100%.
340.
No, that is 100%.
I'm-
We double. Yeah, it's okay. We're trying to figure out the percentages,
Okay, never
but
mind, forget it.
it's
forget
okay.
it, forget it.
Okay, we got it. All right, any other? Colin?
So I think Laura tried to clarify this, but I just want to make it very simple. Was the only incorrect measurement the measurement to the high water mark, or was the actual square footage of the deck incorrect as well? Because I've got some discrepancies there.
Which one are you talking about?
The
The
detached,
detached deck or
The detached deck.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, go ahead, Laura.
so the detached drawing hasn't changed in size. It was just a setback. There was some confusion. I believe the agent is not as familiar as considering the shoreline to be the front yard. So there was a little bit of confusion with what the setback was, considering front yard, which we measure from the waterfront. So that was the measurement that was incorrect. And what is circulated before you today is what is essentially in process of being built, but isn't done yet. It's just a little bit larger, yes, to put some chairs for rest between the upper part of the property and the lower part of the property.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments on this? All right, if not, I'm looking for a motion, and we have a couple of options. There's been a couple of things suggested. Jim?
I think we have to do a site visit on this, Madam Chairman. I would make a motion to defer and committee do a site visit.
Okay, is there a seconder for that motion? Ruth Ann seconds it. Okay. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor? That motion for deferral is approved, and we will coordinate to get out to see this property as soon as possible, so then the application can come back, okay? All right, well, thanks, everybody. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Mr. Takshira, and thank you as well, Diane, and yeah, the committee will get out to the property and take a look at it, okay?
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, and With that, I will declare that we are out of statutory public hearing for minor variances, and I would like a mover to adopt the minutes of the previous meeting that was held on May 19th. Moved by Ruth Ann, seconded by Jim. All those in favor? Those minutes have been adopted, and motion to adjourn from Committee of Adjustment, please. Moved by Ruth Ann, seconded by Colin. Thanks, everyone. See you again shortly.